The journey is etched into their very being, a seasonal imperative that drives the great bison herds across the vast, unforgiving landscapes of Yellowstone. But here, the ancient migratory path is severed by the Lamar River, swollen and quickened by the spring melt. To the adults, their immense bulk, weighing up to a ton, provides a stable anchor against the current. Their powerful legs and muscular frames are built for such challenges. Yet the herd is only as strong as its weakest members. The calves, born just weeks ago, are called red dogs for their bright rust-colored coats. They possess the instinct to follow, but lack the strength to contend with the torrent. Each step is a gamble, every surge of water a potentially fatal blow. The river is not merely an obstacle, it is an active, indiscriminate predator, and it is not the only one. From the sagebrush of the far bank, a patient observer has taken note. A grey wolf, a master of opportunism, understands the dynamics of this crossing intimately. It does not need to expend energy on a direct assault against the formidable adults. The river will do the hard work for it. The wolf's strategy is one of attrition and isolation. It waits for the water to separate a calf from its mother for exhaustion to set in, transforming a member of a mighty herd into a solitary, defenseless target. Its presence on the shore casts a long shadow over the proceedings, a second layer of peril that tightens the screw on the already tense drama unfolding in the water. The herd is aware of the threat, their senses on high alert, but their immediate focus must remain on the life or death struggle against the current. For one calf, the danger is no longer abstract. It is swept away from its mother's flank, its small body tossed about in the churning water. Its head bobs, struggling to stay above the surface, its panicked cries lost in the roar of the river. This is the moment the wolf has been waiting for. The calf's world has shrunk to a chaotic swirl of churning water and burning lungs. Panic begins to set in as the shore and the safety of the herd recedes with terrifying speed. But in this moment of extreme peril, another, more powerful instinct is activated. The mother turns, fighting the very current that threatens her offspring, and positions herself downstream. She becomes a living breakwater, absorbing the force of the water and creating a small pocket of calmer water for the calf to regain its footing. For the rest of the herd, those unburdened by the young, the crossing is a trivial affair. The wolf, hoping the churning river would create the separation it needed. But the bond between a bison cow and her calf is a primal force, and today it proves stronger than the wolf's ambition. Reunited, the calf is momentarily safe. Yet the journey is far from over. These are mountains of muscle, animated by a single migratory imperative. An adult bison can navigate these powerful currents with little difficulty, their immense strength and thick, water-resistant coats making them impervious to the cold and the force of the snowmelt. For them, it is a brief inconvenience. For the young, it is a crucible. Another calf is now in peril. Swept downstream, it has become isolated from its mother, who has already reached the far bank. Each frantic kick is a battle against the overwhelming power of the current. The instinct to follow the herd is powerful, but the maternal instinct is a force of its own. In this moment, the calf is utterly alone, facing a torrent that drains its strength with every passing second. With a final, desperate surge, its hooves find purchase on the gravelly bank. It has made it, but the ordeal has left it exhausted and vulnerable. This drama, played out between one mother and her calf, is repeated all along the river. In these seasonal crossings, the entire future of the herd is at stake. The survival of each calf hinges almost entirely on the actions of its mother. The herd itself is a matriarchal society. In this harsh and unforgiving world, a mother's devotion is the most critical defense a calf will ever know. The one factor that will tip the delicate balance between life and death. With the landscape held fast in winter's grip, survival becomes a singular focus. For the bison, this is the great bottleneck of the year, a period of endurance that will test the strength of every individual. Their dense, shaggy coats, composed of a coarse outer layer and a fine, insulating underfur, provide remarkable protection against the biting cold. But warmth alone is not enough. Food is the critical currency of life, and it lies buried beneath a thick blanket of snow. The herd provides some measure of collective security, but in the end, each animal faces the challenge alone. Its survival dependent on its own fortitude and fat reserves built up during the months of plenty. The first signs of change are subtle: the softening of the snow, the slow drip of melt water. Bison, this is a trigger for movement. The lean months are ending, and the promise of lush, new growth draws them towards ancestral grazing ground. The great thaw unlocks the landscape, revealing vast plains that will soon be transformed into a sea of green. This is the season of renewal, a time to replenish the body's depleted reserves and prepare for the vital rituals of spring and summer. The herd moves with a renewed sense of purpose, driven by an instinct honed over millennia. These plains are their kingdom, and for a few short months, life is generous. The grasses, rich in nutrients, fuel a period of rapid weight gain. For the herd's youngest members, it is a time of discovery and play under the watchful eyes of their mothers. The presence of a rare white calf in the American herds is a reminder of the rich genetic diversity that exists within these populations. The strong bonds within the herd are essential, particularly for the cows and their calves. A bull's status is advertised not only by its size and posture, but also through its scent and actions. By rolling in the dirt and urinating, a bull creates a pungent slurry that coats its fur. This personal perfume is a potent statement of his condition and readiness to mate, a chemical signal broadcast to rivals and As a keystone species, bison shape entire ecosystems. For millennia, their grazing has engineered North American grasslands, creating a patchwork of habitats that foster biodiversity. From enriching the soil with nitrogen to shaping the prairie's very structure, bison are true architects of their environment. Then, with a sudden surge of power, they charge. The impact is colossal, the sound of horn and skull a brutal percussion on the quiet plains. Horns locked, each trying to gain leverage and force the other to give ground. A bull that can outlast his opponent, that can absorb the punishing blows and continue to drive forward, will win the right to pass on his genes. The stakes are the very essence of evolution, the continuation of a strong and resilient lineage. While the bison shape the open grasslands, another powerful architect is at work in the dense woodlands. Here, the wild boar reigns. It too is a keystone species, its influence woven into the very fabric of the forest floor. Constantly searching for food, wild boars are nature's plows. Using their tough, cartilaginous snouts, they root through the leaf litter and topsoil, turning over the earth in search of roots, tubers, fungi, and invertebrates. This ceaseless activity has profound ecological consequences. It aerates the soil, enhances nutrient cycling, and creates ideal seedbeds for many plant species, helping to regenerate the forest. Unlike the vast, open herds of bison, boars live in smaller family groups known as sounders, their lives intricately tied to the rhythm of the forest. A sounder is a matriarchal society, typically led by an experienced, older sow. The boars, or adult males, are often solitary, joining the sounders only during the breeding season. The survival of the group depends on the matriarch's knowledge of the territory, where to find the best sources of acorns and beech nuts, the location of safe wallows, and how to avoid predators. This constant overturning of the soil aerates the earth and buries seeds, influencing the very composition of the forest undergrowth. But the boar does not always live a life of solitude. The core of their society is the sounder, a matriarchal group led by an experienced sow. The young piglets, born with distinctive striped coats that provide excellent camouflage on the dappled forest floor, are especially vulnerable. They stay close to their mothers, who are fiercely protective, ready to charge any perceived threat. She guides her extended family, composed of her daughters and their offspring, through the territory, teaching them the locations of the richest foraging grounds and safest shelters. The young piglets, born with distinctive striped coats, are afforded excellent camouflage on the dappled forest floor. This is vital, as they are especially vulnerable in their first few months. Their mother is fiercely protective, a formidable defender against any perceived threat, and will not hesitate to charge any animal that ventures too close to her young. As the piglets mature, these stripes gradually fade, and they integrate fully into the complex social hierarchy of the group, learning the skills necessary for survival. In a burned landscape, their powerful sense of smell allows them to find surviving roots and tubers beneath the scorched earth, making them important agents of recovery. This adaptability is the secret to their success, enabling them to colonize a vast range of habitats across continents, from dense, ancient forests to the fringes of modern cities. Their intelligence and resilience have made them one of the most widespread and successful large mammals. It moves with a silence that belies its power, a ghost in the dappled light of the forest. This is the puma, the largest of the small cats, and an apex predator that holds dominion over a vast and varied territory stretching the length of the Americas. Its many names, cougar, mountain lion, catamount, speak to its adaptability, a master of stealth thriving in environments from the snow-dusted Rockies to the humid jungles of the Amazon. Its powerful hind legs, longer than its front, designed for explosive bursts of speed and incredible leaps. Eyes that pierce the gloom and ears that pivot to capture the faintest rustle of a leaf. This constant, quiet patrol is the essence of its existence, a solitary life dictated by the endless search for sustenance. Unlike pack hunters, the puma relies on nothing but its own strength and cunning. A successful hunt is not a communal victory, but a singular, personal triumph against the ever-present threat of starvation. This intense focus is a physically draining state of being, a life lived on a knife's edge, where a single misstep or a moment's inattention can mean the difference between a life-sustaining meal and a slow, wasting decline. The trail it follows is a map of memory and scent, a network of pathways that define its territory, a kingdom it will defend with subtle warnings and, if necessary, lethal force. Its life is one of patience, of measured silence, a constant assessment of a world it moves through unseen. This is a solitary hunter, an animal whose survival depends on an intimate knowledge of every ravine and ridge within its vast territory. Its patrol is relentless, a silent census of the prey that sustains it. Each scent on the breeze, every snapped twig is catalogued and analyzed. Its life is one of patience, governed by the rhythm of the seasons and the ceaseless, silent search for opportunity. Every nerve is tuned to the environment, processing the subtle shifts in wind and sound that signal the presence of prey. The large, padded paws, which grant it purchase on rock and soil, also allow for a footfall of almost complete silence, a critical advantage for an ambush hunter that relies on stealth above all else. Power is held in reserve, coiled within a muscular frame for the explosive moments that determine survival. Though a life of solitude is its ultimate destiny, the early months are defined by an intense and vital connection. For a young cub, the world is a landscape of discovery under the watchful eye of its mother. These moments of rest and grooming are not just for comfort, they are an essential transfer of knowledge. As the seasons turn, the fundamental imperative of survival asserts itself. When winter descends, draping the world in a stark mantle of snow, the puma's resilience is tested to its limits. The cold is a relentless adversary, sapping precious energy and making the hunt more challenging, more vital. Each movement must be calculated, each calorie conserved. In this frozen world, a successful kill is more than a meal. It is a hard-won victory against the encroaching chill of starvation. It is the fuel that will sustain the predator through the leanest of times, allowing it to endure until the landscape thaws and life returns in abundance once more. In this unforgiving cycle, the puma remains a symbol of wild endurance, a silent, powerful presence shaping the very wilderness it calls home. A mother with cubs must be particularly wary, navigating the complex hierarchy where a large male can claim her catch, or worse, view her offspring as a threat or even a potential meal. Her every moment is fraught with tension, balancing the need to feed herself and her young with the constant need for vigilance. The cubs, meanwhile, learn by observation, absorbing the crucial lessons of survival that will one day allow them to fend for themselves in this unforgiving world. Two large males, each a formidable force of nature, meet to decide the bounds of their authority. They rise onto their hind legs, grappling with astonishing speed, their immense weight crashing together. Claws that can excavate a den or break the spine of a salmon are now turned upon one another. While powerful jaws, capable of crushing bone, snap and bite. This is not a fight to the death, but a ritualized contest for dominance, for mating rights, and for control over the most valuable territories. Across the vast, silent expanse, winter reigns. For the great herds of Wapiti, it is the season of reckoning. Each day is a relentless search for sustenance, a battle against the cold that seeps into bone and the snow that buries life. They move as a single, sprawling entity, their thick, two-layered coats providing critical insulation. The outer guard hairs are hollow, trapping air to create a thermal barrier, while a dense, woolly undercoat lies against the skin. The herd offers security in numbers, a confusion of bodies that can deter a predator, but it also concentrates the scent of life, a beacon in the frozen wilderness. Life for the elk herds of the high country is a cycle of endurance, recovery, renewal, and conflict. Winter brings silence and scarcity, where survival depends on fat reserves and thick coats. Bulls, weakened from the battles of autumn, shift from rivalry to conserving energy, scraping through snow for what little food remains. Herds cluster together, their unity a shield against the cold and predators who thrive in these lean months. As spring returns, meltwater revives the land, flooding rivers and coaxing green shoots from the soil. This abundance restores the elk and fuels one of nature's fastest growth processes. The regrowth of bull antlers. Covered in velvet, they surge upward as living symbols of health and strength. By summer, meadows are lush, the bulls are in prime condition, and the landscape seems peaceful. But peace is brief. As autumn approaches, bulls shed the velvet to reveal polished antlers, sharp weapons for the coming rut. Hormones surge, necks thicken, and their haunting bugles echo across valleys. These calls are both challenge and display, igniting weeks of fierce contests. Dominant bulls fight to control harems of cows, warding off ambitious rivals, while expending nearly all their energy. Many eat little and barely rest, consumed by the drive to reproduce. The rut is brutal, ensuring only the strongest bulls pass on their genes. When the season ends, the victors are left gaunt, facing the next winter's trials, with depleted bodies. Yet this struggle is the heart of the cycle. Winter hardship, spring renewal, summer abundance, autumn battles, repeating for millennia, binding the elk's fate to the mountains they call home. Carrying with it a new tension. This is the time of the rut. The bull elk, their antlers now fully grown and stripped of velvet, are transformed by a surge of testosterone. They are no longer placid grazers, but formidable, aggressive monarchs. The mountains echo with their bugling call, a sound that begins as a low bellow, rises to a high-pitched whistle, and ends in a series of grunts. It is both a challenge to other males and a declaration of fitness to the females. The dominant bulls gather harems of cows, which they must defend tirelessly from rivals. These confrontations are often highly ritualized, with bulls displaying their antlers and sizing each other up. But if a challenger is not deterred, the contests can escalate into violent, clashing battles that sometimes end in severe injury or death. The rut is an all-consuming obsession during which a bull may lose up to 20% of his body weight, burning through the vital fat reserves he will need for the coming winter. It is a period of intense drama and competition where the future of the herd is decided through strength, stamina, and sheer force of will. For the victor, the prize is the chance to pass on his genes, ensuring the continuation of his lineage. For the vanquished, there is only the lonely wait for another year and another chance to claim the ultimate prize. In the high latitudes, winter's reign is absolute. A landscape etched by ice and wind offers little sanctuary. Here, the grey wolf, an ancient predator, is in its element. The cold is not an adversary, but an ally, weeding out the weak among the herds of herbivores and making the hunt, while still arduous, more predictable. A successful kill is a hard-won victory, providing sustenance that must be consumed quickly before the punishing temperatures freeze it solid. Every morsel of fat and protein is a vital deposit in the energy bank, fuel against the relentless cold. The true strength of the wolf, however, lies not in its individual prowess, but in the intricate society of the pack. This is a family, a multi-generational dynasty bound by a complex code of conduct, loyalty, and communication. A strict hierarchy led by an alpha pair governs every aspect of life, from who eats first at a kill to who has the right to breed. This order is not maintained through constant aggression, but through a rich tapestry of subtle postures, vocalizations, and ritualized behaviors. A lowered head, a flattened ear, a gentle lick to the muzzle. Each is a signal, a reaffirmation of one's place in the pack's social structure. These bonds, reinforced daily, are the glue that holds the unit together, turning a group of individuals into a formidable cooperative hunting machine capable of taking down prey many times their size. When spring finally loosens winter's grip, the pack's focus shifts to the den. Pups are the pack's future, and their survival is a shared responsibility. The entire family, from the dominant alphas to yearling subordinates, participates in their upbringing. While the mother nurses the newborns in the seclusion of the den, other members stand guard or venture out to hunt, returning to regurgitate meat for both the nursing female and, eventually, the growing pups themselves. As they emerge from the den, the world becomes their classroom. Play is a serious business, a rehearsal for the challenges ahead. Through mock battles and clumsy stalks, they learn the essential skills of the hunt, testing their strength and establishing the foundations of their future social rank. The adults are patient teachers, tolerating the nips and tumbles with a remarkable degree of indulgence. They are nurturing not just their own offspring, but the next generation of hunters who will one day provide for the entire family. The pups learn by watching, absorbing the subtle cues and complex strategies that will one day mean the difference between life and death. Through the abundance of summer and the starkness of autumn, the pack patrols its territory, a vast domain that they will defend fiercely from rival wolves. The landscape itself is shaped by their presence. By regulating the populations of large herbivores, the wolves initiate a cascade of ecological effects. In this wilderness, the howl of the wolf is more than just a call to the pack. It is the voice of a wild and balanced world, a vital thread in the intricate web of life. Back to the puma. In the high Andean steppes, survival is balanced on a knife's edge. For this apex predator, the setting sun is not an ending, but a beginning. The golden hour, celebrated for its gentle light, becomes the killing hour. The puma's primary quarry, the guanaco, is ever watchful. Its sharp, high-pitched alarm call can carry for over a kilometer, alerting the entire group to the slightest hint of danger. But the puma is a master of patience and stealth, an almost spectral presence in this vast landscape. As the sun dips low, painting the Andean peaks in alpenglow, the golden hour becomes the killing hour. The shifting light and long shadows provide the puma with its final advantage. The explosion of speed is breathtaking. The targeted guanaco runs for its life, zigzagging to throw off its pursuer. But the puma is a missile of muscle and claw. It aims for the neck. The world is rendered in silver and black, and nocturnal senses come to the fore. For the puma, darkness is an ally. Thermal imaging reveals a world invisible to our eyes, where the heat of a living body glows against the cold ground. Here, survival is a matter of constant vigilance. The guanaco, wild ancestor of the llama, is an animal tuned to the subtle frequencies of its environment. Its large eyes, positioned high on its head, provide a panoramic view of the vast, open steppe, a landscape that offers little cover from the ever-present threat of a hunting puma. A single, sharp, bleating alarm call is all it takes to send the entire herd into motion. Speed is their primary defense, a powerful, explosive sprint that can reach over 60 kilometers an hour, leaving most predators far behind. They are creatures of the wind and the high, arid plains. Their lives governed by the search for sparse vegetation and the need to evade danger. The family group, A small band of females and their young is anchored by the presence of a single dominant male. He is the territorial guardian, the sentinel who spends his days on the highest ridges, watching over his family and the boundaries of their foraging grounds. The herd's cohesion is essential, particularly for the young, known as chulengos, who must learn the rhythms of this unforgiving land from the moment they can stand. Their survival depends on the collective awareness of the group and their ability to keep pace when the alarm is raised. Their dense, woolly coat, a double layer of coarse guard hairs over a soft, thick undercoat, provides superb insulation against the biting Patagonian winds and the extreme temperature shifts that define this region. It is an adaptation honed over millennia, allowing them to thrive where few other large herbivores can. But no adaptation can fully tame this environment. The passing of seasons brings new challenges. The fierce Patagonian winter blankets the landscape in snow, transforming the familiar steppe into a stark, white wilderness. For the guanacos, this is a time of hardship. Food becomes scarce. This stage is shared by other hunters. High above, the Andean condor and the black-chested buzzard eagle trace effortless circles in the sky.